So for our second example, we want to verify that cosine over 1 plus sine plus 1 plus sine over cosine, that's a tongue twister, is equal to 2 times secant. Well, for this, not a whole lot being said by that secant term. So we're going to hope that if we pull some things around on that left side again, we'll get closer and closer to that value. And in this case, we've got two rationals. Generally, what we always want to do with anything rational plus another rational is try and stick them together. So we're going to do that here by finding a common denominator, where to get a common denominator between those two terms, we have to multiply the first one by cosine over cosine, and the second one by 1 plus sine over 1 plus sine. So what we'll get from that is a horrible mess. That is a form cosine times cosine plus 1 plus sine times 1 plus sine all over 1 plus sine times cosine. Where if we start pulling those terms together, the cosine cosine becomes a cosine squared. The 1 plus sine squared becomes 1 plus 2 sine plus sine squared. And then the bottom, for reasons that will remain mysterious for now, we're not going to simplify. Very rarely do we want to simplify the denominator, because usually if we do this stuff right, things will cancel. That's a pattern that you're going to have to get used to working through these problems, that you generally save messing with the denominator for as long as you can. But anyway, here, if we pull these terms together a bit more, we'll notice that on the outsides we have a cosine squared plus a sine squared. According to Pythagoras, according to the Pythagorean identities, that's 1. So, that whole thing on top turns into 1 plus 1 plus 2 sine x, or 2 plus 2 sine x. And from there, we can pull out a 2. We left 2 times 1 plus sine x, and like I said, something nice happens. There's a cancellation. We can cancel out that value there with the 1 plus sine x on the top and bottom, which leaves us with 2 over cosine, or 2 secant. Like I said, this one has a bit more to it than the first one did. That I have to be honest about. It's got more going on. But still, the general idea, the general pattern, the general approach holds. Though, it's not always guaranteed to be so direct. As much as direct might feel like the wrong word for this. Sometimes when we're working with these problems, it takes a little bit more subtlety, it takes a little bit of work on both sides to get the pieces where we need them to be. And that's what we're going to see next with our third and final example for this section.